Good afternoon. You're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEGTalkRadio.com or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, WCEG Network. I'm Celeste Giordano, your show host, along with my co-host Sara Poe, and we're the Global Legacy and Wealth Building for the next hour. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. And last but not least, our disclaimer, the topics and opinions are those of the show host and guest and not WCEG Network. And we thank you for your continued support. Good afternoon, Sara. How are you today?
Hey, Celeste. Doing good.
I am telling you, what a great month to get started here. We're on the 7th day of December, and I know you and I were just having a great conversation with WCEG Network's host, Penny Rogers, and we just want to thank them for everything that they have done this fall season. We have thoroughly had some amazing guests, and some of the other show hosts had awesome guests, and we just learned that right now we're number 8 worldwide in the variety talk and music industry with Crikey. And I think that is amazing, don't you?
Oh, yes. And WCEG Penny and her team, we couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely. So just congratulations to them and all the other colleagues that work with WCEG Network. That's an honor and a privilege, that's for sure. Well, Sara, we have come to the last show of the fall season. It's 7 days into December, and you and I are going to talk about the last Q4 and really the last, I think there's 25 days until January 1st. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. It was just February, right?
I know it. And there's only 18 days to Christmas, but you and I are just going to talk about some key things that, whether it's personally or professionally, that people need to do between now and end of the year to finish strong in their personal life and in their business life. And, and one thing that just resonated with me, Sara, when I met you in 2013, and we have been together like that since then, is, whether it's your personal life or your business life, it's very important that we have a business mentor or coach in our back pocket, as well as a CPA, because those are the two key things that's going to help you increase your sales and your profit and help you build a legacy in your business and your personal life. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, last year at this time, I think we had Marcy who interviewed you and I, and this year you and I are going to interview each other and have some dialogue about what our listeners and audience can do between now and January 1st to finish strong in 2021. So before we get started, Sara, what I'd love for you to do is just tell our audience and our listeners a little bit about Sara Poe and Poe's Accounting Services.
Okay. I am Sara Poe with Poe's Accounting Services. Now with Zoom and the other ways to get in touch with people besides face-to-face, our business can reach out all over the United States to do work for you. That has been a very eye-opener for me with the pandemic. I'd always planned on going that way, but when something happens, it pushes you to that next level, right? So we here at Poe's Accounting, we do taxes, payroll, bookkeeping, anything that a small business would need, because we understand small business. We want to be there for you. It's hard. I know in the beginning, you typically wear every hat, right? But as time goes on, you need to delegate and let other people help you. And unfortunately, some small businesses don't always start out properly. So when they do come to somebody like me, we have to help them sometimes to fix some things, straighten up some things. So here at Poe's Accounting, we like helping small business and help them to create and grow.
Very good. And so for our audience and our listeners, how would they reach out to you, Sara?
So you can reach me at spoe at posecpas.com. Website is posecpas.com also. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, all those wonderful social media things. I do have a YouTube channel, but we would love to help you, or you can call the office at 770-545-8841.
Very good. That sounds great, Sara. So let's just jump in, because we got a full hour here that we want to give a lot of gold nuggets. We want to give a mountain of gold to our audience and our listeners. So my first question for you is child tax credit. What do I do now that I've received partial payments during the year?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, President Biden, one of the things he did was he gave people with children the ability to get part of their child tax credit for the last 6 months, right? The last payment will come out on December 15th. So you've gotten partial payment for your children. So when it comes to tax time, you need to know exactly what you received and how much, right? Because all that will have to be reconciled on your tax return. And so originally it was $2,000 last year. This year it goes for children up to 5 years old, it's $3,000, and children over 5 years old is $3,600. There's phase outs, there's always phase outs, different amounts, married, single, head of household. But you need to be prepared to let your tax professional know exactly how much you've gotten, because if that number is not correct, it can hold up your tax return for months. It's just you need to know those numbers and exactly what you've got. Some people opted out and they still got the money. So you just need to be aware of that. If you need to print out your bank account where you receive the money, or if you had set up a personal account on the irs.gov, you can see exactly what you've gotten. But if those numbers are not correct on that tax return, it will be held up.
So let me ask you something, Sara. So for a child tax credit, so they're getting this money automatically deposited in their account, or some of them getting it mailed by a check. And so it's important that they know the exact figure. They've kept those a roster of what they've received. Is right?
That is very correct. That is correct. I would say probably 90% of them are direct deposited. I'm sure some people have gotten checks, because if you always pay, then they don't necessarily have your direct deposit information. So some people possibly got it by check or like a little debit card.
I got you.
But yes, that information is very, very crucial to your tax return.
Well, and one thing that you just mentioned is by not having these correct figures and knowing them, how it will hold up your tax return or things of this nature. And, even with the pandemic right here, it was a long process because of that. Can you imagine just now not having the right figures in place, how long that would be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, some of the other things, the recovery rebate, that is also, you need to know how much money you got, that third stimulus, the $1,400. How much did you get? Again, I've got people who haven't gotten a refund for this past year because they didn't have the correct information. They didn't give me the correct information on how much stimulus they received. That will hold it up. And we
So
don't.
what do they?
Go ahead.
What do they do if it's held up? I mean, is it? Do they send you a note or email or something in the mail?
They don't send you anything until they determine exactly what you did get. And 9 times out of 10, people understated what they got, and so they were thinking they didn't owe any money. And then all of a sudden, they get this letter from the IRS. We're sorry to say, but you got that $1,200 stimulus payment. So now you owe us $1,200 because you said you didn't, and we took that off what you owed us, but now you owe us that $1,200. And that's not
I
a fun
gotcha.
letter to get.
So that covers on what you need to know about your recovery rebate credits, correct?
Yes, that's the biggest part of that is people, they'll come in here and, well, yeah, that's right. I said, are you sure? Have you looked it up? Did you check your bank? Did you check your personal account on the irs.gov? Oh, yeah. And then we get that letter and I look at them and I go, that's what you told me. So that is what it is. Don't get mad at me. I'm just a messenger.
All right. Well, that's interesting. And it's very important that they are keeping track of those numbers and that they do give you the correct information in filling these forms out.
Right. Because, the IRS does make mistakes, right? So if you've got the proper information and you truly believe you didn't get that, if we can prove that to them, then they'll go back and look at everything to make sure that their information is correct. But they have been wrong in the past. Not a lot, but they have been wrong.
Absolutely.
So Celeste, now you tell us about you and Celeste Giordano Coaching and how it's the best way for people to reach you and exactly what you do for people.
Well, great. Thank you, Sarah, for asking that. I am Celeste Giordano at celestegiordanocoaching.com, and I'm a master sales strategist and a business mentor. I help business entrepreneurs, direct sales teams, and corporations exponentially increase sales and profit through lead generation, building relationships, and accountability. And I have spent 43 years in direct sales and have spent the last, as how time flies, 8 years as a private consultant and a coach as I retired out of the franchise of direct sales. And I love what I do. And I love the fact that, my signature talk is building a legacy business, Sarah, and legacy has so many different meanings to people. Some people think of a legacy as something such as property or money that is received from somebody who has passed on and they left you a legacy of X amount of dollars or of a piece of property. To me, a legacy is all about life and living and caring about our world during our lifetime. And when you're alive, you have a unique ability and opportunity to draw meaning by helping others and serving others first. And that's what it means to me. And my passion is serving others first.
And you do that very well. And I just want to give a shout out to you because the first year I worked with you, we doubled my income. The two of us.
And I appreciate it. Well, absolutely. And I've noticed over the years, over the last 8 years, Sarah, you have continued to double and double and double your business. And congratulations to you. You have reached a different plateau than you were 8 years ago. And that's really a hats off to you because you've done all the work. And, and that's part of growing a legacy business, Sarah. My mantra is learn, grow, achieve, and prosper so you can leave a legacy. And all businesses, when you're growing, how you grow is by investing in yourself. And when you invest in yourself, they're going to teach you new things. You're going to be learning new things about how to grow a business. You learn and then you grow by learning. Readers are leaders. And again, when somebody is working with you and you're learning different things that you didn't know, then you start growing as a person. And sometimes you grow outside of your comfort zone. That's where your goal is. You want to get outside of your comfort zone because a lot of people like that comfort zone and they don't like to go outside of those boundaries. But that's what having an accountability coach, a person or a coach or a mentor in your corner with you, whatever your expertise that you're needing, that what they're going to expand you outside of your comfort zone so you can learn and grow. And when you start expanding outside of that growing stage, you get up here to the top, that you start achieving success. And it's been amazing to watch you, Sara, over the last 8 years, the different levels of success that you've achieved due to the hard work that you and your team have put in place. I remember when Sara was a one-man person, or one-lady person almost, and a part-time assistant, right?
Yeah.
And then look at the team that you have built around you, and the percentages. And that's one of the nice things about having somebody in your back corner to help you do those things. And then once you start achieving success, you start to prosper. And this is where you have a 10% increase, a 20%. The least increased percentage of my clients this year was 130% increase. Most of them had much higher than that. And that's what happens when you invest in yourself to grow your business. You've heard the saying that, are you a real business owner, or you are a hobby owner? Hobby owner.
I see that every day. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure you see that with your own clients that you deal with. And people that are really serious about their business are the ones that are investing in their business to help them grow to the next level. Because you know what? Two hands make more noise than one. And you can't do it all by yourself.
Now, I've got another question for you, right?
All right.
So what is your word for next year?
Oh, what is my word for next year? Okay. Well, that came to me this weekend, and it always comes to me, and I have been thinking about that. But this weekend, the word that came to me was elevate, and then elite. And I want to share how that elevate came. We hear of going to business seminars, and they have a basic ticket, and then they have like a VIP ticket, or different levels. And you know what? You get different things at different levels. True or false?
True.
And think about that for your own business, Sara. That you have clients that they pay a price, but if they want to get you one-on-one, they're going to pay more money for you one-on-one than they're going to pay for just your team, right?
Absolutely.
I've heard that word elevate and the VIP experience, and I've been hearing it, and I talk about it. And that's the difference between the successful business and the unsuccessful business, is in order to elevate yourself, you have to invest in yourself. So this came about this weekend. I had the opportunity, my sister and I, to take my niece and my great niece, which was my sister's niece and granddaughter, to their first music concert. And we happened to know the person that was the music industry of this person. And we were able to get some beautiful tickets. And, if you go to a concert, they have different price levels, right?
Sure.
You sit in the nosebleed section, you're going to pay $50, $60, $70. You come on down a level right there, you're going to pay $100. And you come on down, you're going to pay a couple of $100. And you want to get on the floor, you're going to pay $300, $400, $500. You want to get front stage, front couple of rows, you're going to pay $700. Well, we had tickets that were, and I don't mind sharing, they were about $550 a piece. Okay. Now you can just imagine where we sat to enjoy that show. I mean, I could reach out and touch those people. And, but that was an elevated experience. And, we were very fortunate that the person that we went to see elevated us to that with a ticket. And so I started thinking about that while I was at that concert. And when I go to a concert, I enjoy the music and things of this nature. But what I enjoy is the performance that the entertainer is engaging in with its audience. And this performer really understands engaging the audience, where you're sitting on the edge of the seat, and, and the songs and the passion, and you can feel it. And so, this was important. And, you don't mind paying good money when you can feel that experience.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Yeah.
So we told my niece and my great niece after the concert, we said, now listen, this was your first concert, and it was a great concert, but I don't want you to think that every concert is going to be like this. Because you know, unless you pay a lot of money, you will never sit in these seats ever again. So we didn't want them to think that they're going to go to a concert and they're going to sit. We pointed to the nosebleed section and we said, that's probably where you're going to sit at your next concert. So, you know, I started thinking about that personally and thinking about my clients, because I am so excited about each and every one of my clients this year and the amazing job they've done and how they have elevated themselves and where they're going in 2022, Sarah. And you know what? They paid a price. They paid a price, number one, by investing in themselves, investing in a coach and a mentor. And number two, they paid the price because they did the work, they did their homework, they expanded their comfort zone, got outside of the box. And so elevate is my word for the year. And then I said, well, you know, if you're going to elevate, there's another thing that that recognized with me this year, because my first word was going to be elite. Well, in order to be elite, you have to have an elevated experience first. And where this word elite came from, Sarah, if you remember on one of our shows here at WCEG Talk Radio, you know, we've had Brigitte Hoefler here, and she's a part of the Spire Network. We've had Bill Courtwright, who is one of the founders of the Spire Network. And then we had Mark Harmon here with ePresidents, that is part of that Spire Network. Well, if you remember Bill Courtwright's talk, and we were talking about the networking group of Spire, he used the word elite, and that it's an elite group of people. We've all attended several networking groups, but there's a difference in an elite networking group and an average networking group.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. And so I took a few of my clients to in November to the Spire group. I had never attended one of those groups. I happened to be the guest speaker that night. And you know what? That word elite was on point. It was an elite group of people. And so if you're going to invest in yourself and you're going to elevate yourself, you want to surround yourself with elite people. So my two words are elevate and elite. And the outcome is you're going to be over the top in your experience.
Ah, I like that. I like that.
See, I put a lot of thought into this week, and I love getting away for weekends, because that's time for me to recharge my batteries and collect my thoughts. And it's just like everything came together, Sarah. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The words, everything, and my why came together. So let me ask you, Sarah.
Okay.
Not that I'm turning 72, I'm 65 and proud of that right now. If I was to turn 72 by December 31st, do I need to get a required minimum distribution?
Yes. Last year, they didn't make you do that during the pandemic. So if you didn't want to take that RMD or the required minimum distribution, you didn't have to. And then in the process this year, they extended it from 71 and a half to 72 by the end of the year. So they gave you 6 more months where you didn't have to do it, because some people don't necessarily want to take that money, because then that money is now income and now you have to pay taxes on it, right?
Right.
So if you're going to be 72 by December 31, 2021, you have to take an RMD this year. And a lot of people are confused about that because they let that slide last year. And I didn't want people to know that. I want them to know that they had to do that this year, because if you don't, you get a penalty. And we don't like penalties. So, and I didn't want that to happen.
So when you're talking about required minimum distributions, are you talking about from 401ks?
401k, pensions, whatever that retirement fund is, yes. And more than likely, but most of them are 401ks or SEPs or just a regular simple IRA. But yes, those are the type of things that you will have to take an RMD from.
So, and I thought it was 70. It's now raised to 72, Sarah?
It went from 70 to 71 and a half, and then this year it is 72.
72. Okay,
Yes.
so, okay, that's very positive though.
Yeah, and as a tax professional, retirement. Because if you don't put away for your retirement, how are you going to take care of yourself when you do retire, right? So that is
Right.
one of the first things I tell people, where's the retirement, right? You may not get as big of a tax break. There's so many different ways to do retirement, but you've got to put yourself first, right? You've got to take care of that. And retirement is one way to do that. And there's so many different ways to do it that we could talk about that for days. But I want people to think about that and to put themselves first and to put into that retirement. You should be putting into your retirement before you put into your kids' college fund.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's where your financial planner comes in, right? Because they can help you set all that up. And you and I know how important insurance is, lawyers, your business coach, your tax professionals. And a financial planner is just another tool in your tool belt to help you do a better job with your money and your taxes.
Absolutely, Sarah. And I'm going to come back to that question,
Okay.
but you brought up a good thing. You know, I always talk in my workshops, I always talk about the 5 wise men, 5 wise women, whatever you want to call them, you know, but number one, first and foremost, is you need to have a CPA, bookkeeper, or accounting person in your personal and professional life. And you need to have a relationship. We're talking about relationships right now. You know, you don't want to be going to your tax professional on January 2nd, 2022 and say, what do I need to do? Because it's too late for 2021. So, yes. You know, right now is the time. We have 25 days left until January 1st. Now is the time that you need to be picking the phone up and having a conversation either by phone, Zoom, or in person with your CPA. Mm-hmm. You should be having it with your lawyer. In case anything's changed, maybe you need to update a will, maybe something's changed in your business or whatever. You need to have a conversation with them. Also your insurance, you know, this is a good time to review your insurance policies, even though maybe they don't expire or they renew in January, February, March, or some other month in next year. But before the end of the year, have a review of where you're at. Maybe some things have changed. Maybe you've added some things. And, you know, and as you said, with your financial advisor, you need to, you know, to have a conversation with them and find out where you're at, what you need to be doing. You need to add, have you reached what you needed to reach before the end of the year? I know my husband, Mike, talks with ours all the time. So, you know, that's real important. And again, you know, with your business mentor, I mean, all of my clients, we've already had our VIP day with the exception of one person. And we have 2022 already mapped out and in the books. You know, what a feeling that is to know on December 7th that I've already got my plan of action in place for next year. And that's gold. That is gold right there. So many people wait until January 1st. It's like, okay, let me get my SMART goals out. You know, let me start making some plans. Well, you know, you're already 90 days behind the curveball. And, you know, Sarah, I'm sure you have conversations. I know you do, because you and I have worked together in the past, is that you're having conversations with all your clients right now, you know, on what they need to do. Maybe they need to do some donations right now. Correct?
Correct.
You know, maybe they need to change this, or they've gone and they've started a business, or they've sold something, or they're planning on retiring. You know, they need to have conversations with you right now about what they need to do for 2021. True?
That's true. Because as you brought up donations and charitable giving and that sort of thing. So in 2021, a lot of people, their standard deductions changed, right? So they could only give so much money in donations, where now you can, as a married couple, you can give $600 and it goes right on that front page of that tax return. No questions asked, and it's cash donations. That can make a difference when all of a sudden now your Schedule A is much lower because one, you don't owe interest on a house anymore. Things have changed. And so that instead of losing that $600 as a charitable donation, now it's on that front page and it's actually getting deducted from your return. And all that makes a difference. So people like Celeste and I, we can help you manage those expectations for the coming year and make sure you're doing the proper stuff for your business, for your personal business, for your kids, and for your retirement. There's that word again.
Yeah, exactly. So I said I was going to come back to that required minimum distribution, Sarah. So should people take from that? Can they take partial of that, or should they wait and take it all? Because at the end, they got to pay taxes at one point, right?
Right. So what happens is that gets added to your personal income on your 1040, right? So then you've got to pay taxes on that. The government, some people take a little bit every month. Some people take it once a year, the beginning of the year or the end of the year. Really, it's whatever fits your goals and needs the best, right? I'll use my father as an example. He took his every year in the last week of the month, and then he would pay his taxes, right? He kept it money just for his taxes because he didn't want to give it to him any earlier than that. But that's just what he did. But you got to see what your needs are and how to fit those needs the best. But you always want to take it because you do not want to be penalized for not taking it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Sarah, what do I need to know about long-term capital gains? And a lot of people, I'm sure, have sold houses this year, and maybe they bought. I don't know. I'm not sure I'd want to be buying in this market right now. And I really wouldn't want to be building in this market. That's been a battle in our house right now. But, so tell us about long-term capital gains.
Well, the capital gains are going to change, right? We've heard that over and over and over again. A long-term capital gain is 1 year in 1 day. It's short-term if it's under a year. So it's always good to know that because short-term's taxed a little bit higher than long-term. So one of the things you want to think about is what is that rate and what is your income? Because the income affects what your capital gains rate is. We start out at 0 and we're going up to 36%. But in the next year, it's going to go up to 38% long-term capital gains. So depending on what your income is, let's just use this example. In 2021, the 0% rate applies to individual taxpayers with taxable income up to $40,400 on single returns and $54,100 on head of household and $53,600 for joint returns. So you can see how that scales up, right? So if you're under $40,000, your long-term capital gains is 0, right? But as you go up, your capital gains changes, right? And within that capital gains is something called long-term investment tax, right? That is, if you make more money over a certain amount, then you get an extra little tax on that called long-term investing. So you need to understand all that. So when you are investing, you make sure you kind of spread some of that out so that you didn't get one big wallop across the side of the head with 36 or 38% tax rate, because you're all in the one thing, right? So we always try to help people understand that so that they diversify their investing.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we need to know about long-term capital gains, Sarah, that you can think of?
Not right off the top of my head, no. All right, so Celeste, why do most entrepreneurs accept the status quo and put off setting and pursuing goals until January 2022?
That's a great
part of this. So.
Yeah, I think I did answer part of this, and that's a great question. And it's if and when they can find the time. I think what happens as we get towards the month of December, Sarah, they have put off and put off. And the biggest thing is that they probably are not invested with a coach or a mentor that keeps them on track. Because if they did, they would know that this process starts really in October, where you start planting. You know that.
Yeah, because they need that accountability.
Exactly. So I guess the reason for it is right now is that they just don't find the time, or they haven't invested in a coach or a mentor that has made that a priority to them, or hasn't touched on that. And really a good coach and mentor will touch on that. See, there's so many expertise of coaches and mentors that some of them are not a specific business mentor. We cover all the parameters, the 5 wise men, 5 wise men, whatever it is. We cover all those areas in our coaching industry. We cover, the legalities, the financial things, the growing your business, the sales, the marketing, the branding, and I have a team that covers all those areas for those clients that I work with, that they don't have to go vet anybody. You already have that expertise. And so therefore a good business coach has a team of people like this that doesn't allow you not to have these goals ready. Because if you're running a business, you got to have a marketing plan. You have to have a sales plan. You have to have a social media plan. You have to have, what are you going to write blogs? Are you going to do video? What are you going to do? That's all part of the plan. And a good business coach will have a team of those people where you have had conversations and you've planned that part out, and now we've brought it all together. But one of the main reasons people do is just because they run out of time, and it's really unproductive, and sometimes it's even destructive mentality for that. So, maybe you didn't reach your goals, maybe your sales have plateaued, or any of those things right there. But the biggest thing to remember about this, Sarah, is your strongest competitors. They've already invested in themselves. They've done their preparation for 2022 in advance, and they will be armed with a clear action plan and ready to hit the ground running. My question is, will you? And if you haven't, I'd love to have a conversation with you. And I think it's in the chat down here of how you can get a hold of me. And, because you do need a plan, and you do need to have this plan, and it's not too late to make this plan. So you're not going to be left behind in 2022, because if you wait to January 1st or 2nd, you're already 90 days behind. All my clients started October, and we're finished, and we have the whole year mapped out.
Now, there was a key word in there. You said the word blog. And I think you give us one of those, every Thursday?
Every Thursday at 9:30 a.m., my blog hits your email for those that are registered and signed up. And you can go to my website at celestegiordano.com and register for that. And you get a blog, and, and it's going to talk about sales. It's going to talk about leadership. It's going to talk about nonprofits. It's going to talk about growing your business. I mean, it's a wide variety of subjects. I've spent 43 years in direct sales as a franchise owner. I've recruited, I've trained, I've motivated, I've promoted, I've retained people. And that's another thing when you're looking to hire, a business coach, or whether it be a CPA or anybody, you want to make sure that person that you're looking to hire and that you resonate with has been and achieved the things that you wanted to achieve. There's a lot of people out there, but what they realize is those people never sold $1 million in gross sales before, or they've never recruited, 52 weeks out of the year and had 150 people that they were responsible for. And if they haven't done that, then how can they help you do that?
That's true.
So
That's
anyways,
true.
So, we have a complimentary blog that comes out. I pour my heart and soul into it. And really the blog comes from previous experiences that I've experienced as a franchise owner in direct sales, as well a lot of time, things that I have learned, and I have learned from clients that they have gone through things of that has caused me to write a blog about that. Because if something resonates with you that you had that problem, then I promise you 10 other people have the same problem. They need to learn from it. And I'll never forget one of the times I was at a chamber meeting with one of my clients, and there was a lady that I had had a coffee with when I first started. And we had coffee with each other to see if we could, things of how get to know one another. And it just didn't register for neither one of us to work together, what she had to offer, what I had to offer. And when I went to that chamber meeting, and it happened to be on a Friday, my blog comes out on Thursday, and she said, "It was so great to see you, Celeste." She says, "It's been a while." She said, "I'd love to have a conversation with you because I'm ready to do business with you. That blog you sent yesterday hit me right between the eyes." And I mean, you just never know. And I had, and I've had an admin to say, "I don't know why you're doing a blog. It's a waste of time, this or that." But then you can go back to my open rate. Everybody should have a CRM. And, I'm having 40 and 50% open rate on my blog. And you know what? I highly encourage, whether it's once a month, twice a month, or every week. And for 8 years, I've had a blog every week, 52 weeks out of the year for 8 years. And I will not stop doing blogs because that is my way of giving back to the community and serving others first.
Well, and it's great, and it's got a lot of good information. And I want to touch on something you just said, right? You said we all have points during our year, things that don't go well. Well, as a tax professional this year, I had to deal with more mortgage companies in my 1 year this year than I've dealt my whole career. And me and mortgage people don't like each other. And the biggest reason why is because I believe they're short-staffed. They don't have the time to work with the people. So 2 days before they're ready to close on this mortgage, they need all this new information. And this poor client of theirs is calling me and begging me to get this stuff or needing this stuff. Well, I've got 10 other people in front of you who are trying to do some of the same things. So as a point of contention, because it's just been a terrible year with mortgage people, if you are a self-employed person, you need to be aware of this. They're going to want 2 years of everything: P&Ls, balance sheets, bank statements, tax returns, transcripts, everything. And if they don't match up perfectly, they're going to want to know why. And then they're going to ask me why. Well, and I have to be truthful with them, right? We had to change things, or this happened, or that happened. So we need to be prepared for that. All self-employed people need to be prepared for that. Mortgage companies will ask me, is this business going to stay in business? And I throw up my hands and go, I'm not a mind reader. I think they're capable of it, but my insurance company will not let me write any of those letters because of the liability that puts back on me. Right? If something happens and that mortgage defaults, I don't want that mortgage company to come back on me because of one little letter I wrote. So, and I don't mean to be disparaged, but we are not allowed as CPAs to write those letters. And we need to educate our mortgage people about that. I'm sorry. It's been one of those years.
Well, Sarah, that's a really great story right there, because as you know, in my workshops, and you and I have co-led workshops for 8 years in a row, is one of the main things that I preach on is having that relationship with that CPA, bookkeeper, and accountant, having that P&L statement every single month, where, because you have to know that. And it's just like my brother is buying a house, and they're going to close the end of this month. I saw him this weekend. You know what? He knows, and he has everything he's supposed to, because he knows from me, you have to have that. He's self-employed. But you know what? They wanted his P&L statements for all of this year, because even though his taxes aren't filed this year, they want to see where he's at this year. You know what? No problem. Boom. He's got it with this bookkeeper CPA. And to have somebody try to go through that right now, you're going to pay big bucks to get somebody here in the month of December to have to put all that together. True or false?
Oh, I got that phone call yesterday, and I said, look, you've got 6 days that I'm working the rest of this year. If it can't be done in that 6 days, we're talking about January. And if you want it done that quickly, this is what it's going to cost. And they just looked at me. I said, I've been trying to get you to do this for years.
Years, that's right. Absolutely. But that's a good point, Sarah. And it is true for our listeners to know that, you need to have these things. And, especially if you're looking to purchase a new home, or you're selling and you're buying a home, you need to have this information.
Yeah. So when you said that, I just had to talk about it.
That's okay.
Okay. So let's throw another question to you. Why do the holidays sometimes stir up unwelcome feeling that it's not anything, it's not merry. It's sad. It's not merry.
It's a 6-letter word called stress.
Yeah.
With less than a month left, as we just talked about, many entrepreneurs are feeling the squeeze of the holiday. Maybe it's the end of the business year, quality time with loved ones, they're having to make a lot of decisions. Maybe they're panicking over their goals. They haven't achieved the goals this year. They want to finish the year strong and bring in new business, but they don't have a solid strategy because they haven't invested in themselves. All these kinds of things. Really, it boils down to stress. And so I have 3 tips for them. Is right now, and this is the process we start in October, is you need to start writing down your 2021 wins. You don't realize how many wins you have until you start writing them down. And one of the reasons entrepreneurs feel deflated and down in December is because they focus on their goals that they didn't achieve, where they ought to be focusing on their wins that they did. Because this process that I have with my clients every year, when we have a call on this, they say, Celeste, when I started writing this down, I never realized how many wins I really had, because we sort of forget about them. So write down your wins. And did you push yourself to try something new? That's a win. Did you relinquish control or delegate to a team member? That's a win. These things are all important. You owe it to yourself to celebrate these wins. And I've been seeing a lot of articles about this, Sarah. And me, in our private group, we talk about success and celebration Fridays and stuff like this. And some people don't buy into that. And you know what? Shame on you, because you're selling yourself short when you don't celebrate your wins. You have a moral obligation to celebrate those wins for yourself, your family, for your colleagues, to allow them to celebrate you, because sometimes we're our own worst enemy and we forget about the wins that we have. The second tip is your values. The end of the year is a fitting time to reflect on what really matters. Things have changed. For many entrepreneurs, answers like family, freedom, and spiritual beliefs top the list, but they're also passionate about their work. So, strive to build a legacy business so you can create a life that allows you to spend time with your loved ones. That's one of the things with our groups, with our clients, that we talk about is there's a balance. One of the first things we do every month is we schedule everything in a calendar. And one of the first things that we schedule is our spirituality, your spiritual time, whether it be church, Bible study, whatever it is, your spirituality comes into it first. The second thing that's going to come into it is your family into your calendar. You're going to have those planned days, whether you have to do something with the children, it's a date night with your spouse, it's a planned weekend, planned time off. You have to have that planned time, and you have to have those things. And then the third thing is your to-do list. And if you want to start off January on the right foot, make sure you wrap up all the projects you pushed off again and again. How many times people keep pushing off, and you need to prioritize those. And you don't want any large projects hanging over your head. So that's important, is your to-do list.
And something that I put on my to-do list or on my calendar every week, is one day a week is I think about how I'm going to grow the business, not the things that I do every day, but I take time out every week to look at my business. Or how can I grow? What can I do differently? And that's all part of that to-do list, the balance. And I block off time where I don't answer email. I don't answer the phone, but I think about that and I do some of that planning, and you help teach me to do that.
Absolutely. And, I have a call every week with my clients. And so, we live off of a day to day, week to week, and month to month. You can't just handle things twice a month and cover an entire month. People need the accountability. People can never have a bad week if they're being held accountable on a weekly call. They can never have a bad month because you can self correct. And you have another set of eyes. And as I said earlier, two hands make more noise than one. And one of the biggest things that I notice in time management, Sarah, with people is they don't plan their time. They don't take a calendar and plan it out. So it's very, very important that you do plan that out. You do schedule your spirituality. You do schedule your family time, and you do schedule your career and your business time. And you know what? Then it's up to you. You have it on that schedule. And if something comes up on that day that you want to change, so be it. That's your choice. But you're making that choice because you were supposed to do X, Y, Z. And if you didn't, and you chose not to do it, that's on you. That's not on your business coach. That's on you.
Right.
And also, all my clients share their calendar with me. So it's very easy for me to see. And it's very easy for me to send a text or a phone call and say, hey, Sarah, I haven't seen a lot of lead generation or networking or something, I just use that as an example, Sarah. But, being accountable to that, because a lot of times we have good intentions. It's just like people never intend to lie to you, but people do lie to you. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. The intention's not there, and it's just like people have good intentions to do the right thing. But sometimes because they're not being accountable, they take a path of least resistance. And that's what gets them in trouble.
And I was very guilty of that when I met you.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. But you have changed, and look where you're at now with your business.
That's right.
I can think of a client right now that was just her and one other person. And I said, we're building a team. And like, she was like the Flintstones with her foot, on the brake, no. Now she's got a huge team, but she was afraid of that growth. But we planned it out and we scheduled it out, we structured it out, and that's one of the things that you can do. So Sarah, we've got about 10 more minutes. How much can I give to my kids as a gift this year?
Okay, so you and Mike could each give $15,000 to each child. Okay, so they could get $30,000 in total from you for this year. But over your lifetime, for a couple, you can give $23.4 million away. You just got to you've got to plan it. You've got to have an action plan to do that, right?
Right.
And let's just say that you and Mike have been doing this all along, right? And then, God, we don't want this to happen. I'm just using it as an example. Something happens and he passes away. So you would need to file a Form 706, a gift tax return. So the IRS knows all of that. That has to be done when a spouse passes away. So you can give your kids $30,000 every year for the remainder of your life, and that's a tax-free gift, right?
So where's the other 15,000 coming from, Sarah? You say you give 15, but now you're saying 30. Where's the other 15?
Well, I'm saying if you and Mike both did it, 15.
Oh, I see. Oh, each. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So it used to be 10,000, and then it went to 13,000. So right now it's 15,000.
Yes, it went to 15 this year, and it'll be 15 again next year.
Next year. All
Yes.
right. And so that is something that maybe some of our listeners or audience may want to do before the end of this year.
That's correct. That is correct. Because let's just say your child wants to start a business, right? And they need some upfront cash. Well, you and your spouse give them $30,000 December 20th, and then you turn around, you give them $30,000 January 15th, right? That's 2 separate years. You met the criteria, but then now you've given them $60,000 to start a business, buy a house, whatever that might be. And it's a tax-free donation to them.
Absolutely. So it's really important before you even thinking or doing anything, definitely call your CPA, bookkeeper, accountant. Sarah, if they wanted to call you, what is your phone number?
My phone number is 770-545-8841. And I'd
Very
love to
good.
talk to you.
Absolutely. So another question, Sarah, what is the standard mileage rate for 2022? And you've got some great tips on how to track this mileage.
Yes. So your standard mileage rate for business is 56 cents a mile. For charitable driving, it's 14 cents. And for medical, it's 16 cents. And a lot of people don't realize for your charitable and your medical, you track your miles and then that there is a tax deduction for that, right? One of the best ways to keep track of that is an app called Mile IQ. On that app, you can put the information, who you visited, what the charity was, what you were doing. And it's very easy. You swipe one way for personal and you swipe one way for business, but you can put tolls, parking, everything into that one little block of information for that. So at the end of the year, you print it out and it's all right there. And the IRS loves that because it's a third-party app.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that, so it's the end of the year. I remember this tip from the very first time we did a workshop, Sarah, that, on December 31st, you need to, I usually get my oil changed or something,
Yes.
so it has your mileage.
That's
So
right.
you want to definitely, what is the thing that you tell them to do on the last day of the month? Get your
An
oil
oil
changed.
change, anything where you get the mileage written down by a third party.
Party. Yes.
We're always wanting a third party because the IRS just likes that better than me and you writing it down.
Exactly. So that's a great tip right there. So Sarah, we've got about 4 minutes left. A couple of things I want us to talk about here real quick. Like, you and I have co-founded the Women of Community Impact.
Yes.
And that's near and dear. We're both very passionate about that. We've got a great board. We have great leadership teams, and we've done a lot of amazing things during the pandemic. And most recently, we partnered with Love Him, Love Them. We've supported them. This is our second year and we've had Linda Gunter on our show as well. And we surpassed our goal to the money that we raised for them. But we also fed Home of Hope.
Yes.
A Thanksgiving dinner, 55 women and children at Home of Hope. We took food to them because of Love Him, Love Them and their mission, and partnered with them being one of their top sponsors. We also fed 55 people at Northside Gwinnett Hospital.
Yes.
We also partnered with Beyond the Ribbon, where Bobby Minnick took, I think, 40 meals to families with cancer. And so with this at the end of the year, there are a lot of needy organizations, not necessarily just Women of Community Impact, although we welcome that, and charitable donations, because, everybody might need to give a donation or do things. You can serve in different ways through charitable donations, through Amazon, purchasing things, a percentage goes back to these nonprofit organizations. You need to register with that. And other organizations, they're doing things with children. I think Penny was talking about children toys for tots and things of this nature. So we have about 2 minutes. Just give us a quick take on your take for the charitable organizations.
So I always have my clients come to me this time of year and go, okay, I'm ready to give money. Who do I give it to? And I always have a good list for that, because you can always go on the internet and see how the different charities spend their money. The bigger charities, the smaller ones, it's a little bit harder to get that information. But don't forget, as a married couple, the first 600 will be a deduction from your taxes on your tax return. So, and it always feels good to help, right? You're helping foster kids, whatever that may be. It's a good feeling, and especially this time of the year, that you know that you're helping somebody have a better day.
Absolutely. And I mean, we have worked with Home of Hope. with Maureen and them. We've worked with Camp Amplify with those children. We worked with Beyond the Ribbon with the families with cancer. So we worked with Love Him, Love Them. And that's a very passionate thing for us. So just think of this time of year. It's a time of year that a lot of people aren't as fortunate as others. And, you know, really, truly, if you do some introspection, we're all very, very blessed.
Yes.
And be thankful for the things that you have, and be thankful for the opportunity that you can give. And with that, in closing, we have 30 seconds. Our shows in the new year are going to be on January 11th and January 25th. And we'd like to wish all of our audience and our listeners a very Merry Christmas and a very prosperous, Happy New Year. Sarah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. I'll be seeing you soon. And we love our WCEG network. Thank you for everything that you do to give back to the community. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.